Oliver, Oliver, good morning, good morning, good morning, you guys. This is Fashawn from Blessed Abundance Oracle, and I wanted to come on tonight and do a special live. I hadn't planned on coming on, but I woke up to Spirit saying that this was a topic that I needed to address. So that is what I'm going to do. Let me start today's topic by making a few disclaimers. If you hear things in the background, that's my cats. I have cats and they make a lot of noise. Hi, everybody in chat. I'm going to post this live on my YouTube channel as well. So if I don't speak to you at first, please understand that I do see you. But this is a topic of discussion, so it's going to be a bit different. When I started my journey as an oracle, and throughout my journey as an oracle, I get asked the same questions over and over. People always ask, how do I know that my spiritual gifts are real? And are they evil? You know, I can see things before they happen. I know things in advance. I can do this, that, or other thing. Is this of God? Is this evil? Should I be worried? Am I crazy? I get all these questions. And the first thing that I say when people ask me these questions is, no, you're not crazy. And no, your gifts aren't evil. And yes, they are from God, and in most cases, you were born with them. I'm going to say some things that some people may find offensive, and if I do that, I'm sorry. This is not an attack on a religion. This is not an attack on a belief system. It just is what it is. Most of the people that I come in contact with that are asking me these questions are from a Judeo-Christian background, which means that they are in some way, shape, or form in some sort of a subscription to Judeo-Christian beliefs. And particularly with people who are psychic or have psychic abilities or have any other sort of abilities that are quote unquote above the norm. They have the misconception, shall I say, that these gifts are in some way wrong. Because that is what we have been taught by the Judeo-Christian Church, particularly those of us who are in the United States. But let me explain something to you about the Judeo-Christian Church. The Bible as we know it was written in a time when things that were not normal or not everyday were considered to be evil. And this is because people did not understand these things. And really, at the time that the Bible was written, they had no way of understanding these things. So they had no way of explaining them or dealing with them, and they had no frame of reference for them. So they were considered to be evil. It's just like a car. If someone took a car back to the time when Judeo-Christian beliefs were just finding their beginning, people would consider it to be witchcraft, and that person would be considered to be a witch. Now, would that be true? No. But because they had no concept of what a car was, or how it worked, or the mechanics of invention, to them, of course, that would be witchcraft or something wrong or something out of the norm. But to us, in this time, we think nothing of going outside, getting in the car, driving down the street. Okay. The other thing that you have to understand about religion is religion within itself is a social construct. Social constructs are meant to control, because they are meant to make us believe the same things, want the same things. They are meant to make us normalize. Social constructs are things like institutions, like school, church, marriage, all of those things are social constructs. Because if you can control what a person believes, their family makeup, their language, their mode of communication, their movements, so to speak, you then can group that person and control that person. Now, things like any sort of gift, things like any sort of extra knowing or any sort of extra ability fall outside of those constructs. And when you have something that is not able to be controlled or predicted or monitored or in any way constrained, okay, because I don't have control over my gifts. I don't have control over what I'm going to see. I don't have control over any of that. I don't know how far in advance it's going to be. I don't know what Spirit's going to say. I don't know when Spirit's going to say it. Therefore, it does not fit into any sort of social norm or societal construct whatsoever. Therefore, it's a problem. It's an anomaly. Okay? Is it wrong? No, because it's natural to me. It's who I am. It's who you are. It's who we all are. Everyone on this earth was built with gifts. Everyone came here with a certain gift or talent or speciality. Okay? The thing is that some of us, if we sing, if we dance, if we run, if we're athletes, if we're mathematicians, if we're good at writing, if we're something that's considered to be normal, something that society deems to be useful, okay, something that can be controlled, calibrated, used for some sort of societal advancement, those things are considered to be acceptable in society. Okay? Because they have a place. They have a benefit. My gifts, as it were, have a benefit. Your gifts, as it were, have a benefit. And if you are someone who is spiritually enlightened, or if you are someone who has been awakened, please understand that though your gifts may not fit into the social construct as we see it, your gifts have a benefit. The thing is who they benefit. I have come to realize that in my case, my gifts benefit mankind as a whole. They do that both individually when I do your personal readings, and they do that collectively when I do things like what I'm doing right now. I have also come to realize that there are people and entities for which my gifts present a problem because they reveal things that certain people and certain entities would rather not be revealed right now or in the way that they are. But that's neither here nor there, and that's neither your problem or mine. That just is something that is. And that's something that I have to live with as long as I'm here and as long as I'm doing what I'm called to do. Now, I say that because I'm moving on to my next topic. Okay. How do I know if I have spiritual gifts? How do you know if you have spiritual gifts? Because your life is hard. That is the first warning that you have spiritual gifts. Your life is hard. Okay? Things happen to you. You have to go through things, and they seem to keep happening and keep happening and keep happening. But you're never really quite affected the way that you think. You always seem to make it through whatever happens. And when you make it through this thing, you make it through with a knowledge and an understanding of how the struggles that you went through enriched your life. Not just how it made it difficult, but how it profoundly enriched who you are as a person. Also, you realize that you are protected because things that should happen to you don't. Does that mean that your life is going to be perfect? No. Does that mean that you're not going to make mistakes? No. Does that mean that you're going to be in some way more perfected than other people? No. Does that mean that things in your life are going to be less chaotic? No. In fact, it means the opposite. It means that you're going to be less perfect than a lot of people. You're going to be more flawed. You're going to be more sensitive. You're going to cry more. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel lost. You're going to feel all of those things. And the reason why is because you have to understand them on a more profound level than anyone else. If I'm sitting here and I'm counseling this person about why they should get out of this relationship that they're in, or why they won't be depressed because their child went out and did drugs, and why they should have hope, and why this and why that. If I've never felt those things, if I don't know profoundly on a profound level what it's like to have to let someone go because they chose drugs over me, if I don't know what it's like to have experienced having my childhood taken away from me because of somebody else's choices, if I don't know those things on a profound level, how am I supposed to counsel someone? How am I supposed to tap into that energy and know that person's pain and give them a way to get out of it? How? The reason that I know your pain is because in some way, shape, or form, it mirrors a pain that I've gone through in my life. It may not be exact, but I know it. And when someone comes to me with a problem that they need advice from, I can go to Spirit and say, okay, Spirit, how do I handle this? And Spirit puts that download in me, because pain has a muscle memory. And I feel that pain and I know what it is. So, yes, my life is going to be hard. My life is going to be lonely. My life is going to be all of those things, because I have to understand what they are, because I'm put on this earth to assist people in waking up. And if I've never felt the pain of waking up, if I've never felt the pain of loss and desolation and depression and all of those things, how am I going to have muscle memory for when I go into Spirit to counsel somebody? I'm not. Okay? I'm not going to have that muscle memory. I'm not going to have that frame of reference. So, yes, one of the hallmarks of being spiritually awakened and having spiritual gifts is that your life is going to be ridiculously hard. Okay. Because you have to keep learning and learning and learning and learning and going through things. And going through, and no, it doesn't stop. It doesn't get more comfortable. It doesn't reach a plateau where, it's like, oh, okay, things are going well. No, that doesn't, it doesn't stop. Because your understanding of how the world works becomes such that you are always learning. You're always growing. You're always receiving new information, and things are always turning. And you're forever turning things over in your mind, and you're forever getting downloads, and things are always evolving. So you as a person are always evolving. Okay? The other thing is that when you have gifts and when you can do things outside of the norm, okay, you have to understand that the things that you can do and the gifts that you have are not you. They are spirit. You are not allowed to take credit for those gifts. Yes, you have them. Yes, they're yours to use. But you in yourself do not own them. They are not generated by you. Therefore, you cannot take credit for them. Does this mean that you cannot accept praise for what you do? No, it does not. Does this mean that you cannot get paid for what you do? No, it does not. Does this mean that you can have ego about what you do? Yes, it does. Okay. It's like being in kindergarten. You remember how when you went to kindergarten, you only went with a certain set of tools. You may have had crayons, you may have had a pad of paper, you may have had a pencil, but then when you got there, your teacher had glue, and she had scissors, and she had construction paper, and she had all of that when you got to kindergarten. And she said, go into the art closet and go get, the art supplies, and while you're here, you can use them. And then when it's no longer art time and it's time to go home, all of that stuff that you just used goes back in the closet. Well, that's kind of what it's like when you have gifts from Spirit. You are a vessel of the gifts that you have. You don't have control over your gifts, but Spirit does. If you're an inventor and you have to wake up in the middle of the night at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning to draw plans, because that's when Spirit put the schematics for your next big invention in your head, you don't have control over that. You can't sit there and tell Spirit, well, Spirit, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to sleep, so could you please come back tomorrow and give me the schematics when I'm awake? No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to turn it off. You know what happens when Spirit is trying to get you to do things and you're trying to turn them off because they're inconvenient for you? You know what happens? Okay? I'm going to put this in very, 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 very base terms. Your life fucks up. That's what happens. When you try to put Spirit on hold, you don't get a choice. This is not called waiting, okay? Spirit has something that you need to do. That's the reason that Spirit chose you for the gifts that you have in the first place. And you and your ego and your fear and your upbringing and your religious beliefs and society don't get to say, sorry, Spirit, I don't want to do this. I don't, Spirit, I don't want to be an oracle. I want to get married. I want to live my life and be married, Q public, and have 2 kids and fence and a dog and live in suburban Connecticut, Spirit. I don't want to. No. You don't get to do that. You know how I know? I tried to do it. I got married to a man that I knew that I wasn't supposed to marry, because I thought that was what I was supposed to do. And when I was married to this man, I was not allowed to use my gifts. I was not allowed to use my gifts for 10 years. I had people sitting on top of me, telling me that I could not use my gifts ever. I had people sitting on top of me. Okay? Meanwhile, while they're sitting on top of me, I'm going through depression. I'm going through suicidal thoughts. I'm having all of these problems back to back to back to back. And I'm losing money. I'm losing friends. I'm losing everybody. And my life is being pared down to nothing. It got to the point that by the time I came to myself, by the time I was ready to walk away and become the person that I am now, all I had was spirit. I literally said, on the day that I left my husband's house, I literally said, I said, Spirit, I said, I have nothing. The only thing that I have is you. I said, it's going to be me and you. I said, I'm taking your hand. I don't have money. I don't have anything. I didn't have friends. I didn't have anything. All I had was the clothes on my back, the clothes that my children had, my pets, and my car. That's all I had. I didn't have anything. But because I had chosen to put spirit on hold for 10 years, doing things that I shouldn't have done. And I knew before I did them that I shouldn't have done them. I knew. But I chose because I'm making decisions. This is me. My ego is telling me, oh, it would be best for you if you got married. You need to do this because this is what society says you should do. This is the best thing. This is the best thing. I'm listening to my ego. I'm listening to society. And I'm not listening to spirit. Spirit's inside my body going, no, don't do it. Don't do it, Fashawn. And I'm like, but I have to. If I get married, then, my child will have her father and it'll solve some problems that he has, and it'll fix this and fix that. And inside my body, spirit's screaming at me, no, don't do it, don't do it. And I did it anyway. Why? Because I thought that I knew better. I thought that I knew better than spirit. I know better than spirit. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get married because society says that I have to get married and I have to do this. And, if I do this, then, whatever he had going on before me, it'll fix it. And then my daughter will have her father and da-da-da-da. Okay? Let me tell you something, beloveds. The first clue that you're lying about anything that you do or say is the need to justify that shit. If you have to justify anything you do, it's a lie. You never have to justify the truth. Never in your life will you have to justify anything that's true. The moment that I had to start explaining to myself, to people, to spirit, why I had to do something, I should have realized that that was a lie, because you don't have to justify lie. You don't have to justify the truth. But if you lie about something, you're going to have to explain, and then you're going to have to explain again, and then you're going to have to explain what you explain. Okay? But I didn't understand that at the time. But you better believe after 10 years, 17 years, excuse me, because 17, excuse me, not 10. Because I was married for a total of 17 years. You better believe after 17 years, when I walked out of that house for the last time, and I told Spirit that it was just Spirit and just me, and that I was going to take Spirit's hand, and wherever Spirit led me was wherever Spirit led me. I knew that truth. I knew that truth from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. I knew that truth. And it's because of that truth, because on that day I said that I'm going to put my hand in Spirit's hand, that I'm sitting here right now in front of you saying what I'm saying. Because I said, Spirit, come what may, I'm not going to deny you anymore. If you put me here, if you say that I'm supposed to be on this path, this is the path that I'm going to be on. And I don't care what that path looks like. Because it's not about me. People are always asking me, why don't you show your face? Why don't you this? Why don't you that? Because it's not about me. These gifts that we have, they're not about us. It's about doing a service to your fellow man. It's about learning. It's about growing. It's about growing all of us. It's about helping us to understand and communicate with Spirit in a better way, because we're down here. And because of that, we are fundamentally detached from Spirit. Because we're down here learning and going through things and experiencing things and realizing that there is much more to the earth and much more to the cosmos and much more to reality than we ever thought that there was. There's not just one reality. There are thousands of them. And we're nothing but a grain of sand in the big cosmos of everything. So is it going to take something extra from Spirit to get us to understand that we are all important, while at the same time being nothing in the big scheme of things? We are all important to Spirit. Each one of us is a tiny little universe. But at the same time, we're all tiny little universes in a universe that is infinitesimally gigantic. Okay? So, ego has no place in that. Where does ego reside in that? Knowing that you are the biggest thing and yet the smallest thing that there is. You. But how are we going to understand that unless there is something spectacular to show us that? That's why we all have gifts. That's why we all have talents. That's why we all can be extraordinary. But you can't be extraordinary and you can't hear Spirit if you're too busy hiding under the covers going, no, Spirit, no, I don't want to be extraordinary, Spirit. I don't want the gifts you're giving me, Spirit. They're uncomfortable. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Any woman in here can tell you that growing is uncomfortable. When you were a girl, okay, and your breasts started to develop, that was the most uncomfortable feeling ever. And you had to live with that discomfort day in and day out and day in and day out and day in and day out and day in and day out until your breasts developed. But then when you became a woman and you looked at yourself in the mirror and your breasts are developed and they're sitting on your chest and they're part of who you are and they're part of your femininity, and you look at yourself and you're beautiful, you don't think about all the time that you spent going through training bras and not being able to sleep on your stomach and all of that. You don't think about all of that because your breasts are part of you. Were they uncomfortable when they were growing, when they were coming in? Yes. And you had to go through the awkward stages and go through all of that. Yes, they were uncomfortable as hell. You didn't want breasts when they first came in because you were used to being flat-chested like the boys and being able to run and play and jump and scream and do all of that. Your gifts are who you are. They're part of who you are. They're not comfortable. You won't understand them. They're confusing as hell. They don't stop. They don't make your life perfect. They don't make you any more than anyone else. They put you on a course that gives you a mission in life. They let you know that in this life you came here not to be above anyone. They don't make you better, faster, stronger. They make you more observant. They make you more pliant. They make you one who has to be of service. That's what it means. It means that you are to be of service. You are to be of service. And it doesn't matter whether you're servicing one person or 1 million people. You are to be of service. You are to listen to Spirit. You are to apply your gifts in the way they are to be applied, and you are to be of service. To whom much is given, much is expected. You are to be of service. Don't be afraid of your gifts. Embrace them, explore them, find out what you can do. Find out what you can do. Find out, is your depression really depression? Or is it an ascension? Are you waking up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning because your mind is racing because you're getting downloads? When you watch TV, do you get Are you understanding what's going on in a new way? When you're around people, are you extra sensitive to their emotions? If you walk into a room and somebody's in there, are you sensitive to what they're feeling? Can you tune into their thoughts? Can you? Are you somebody who's mechanically inclined? When you walk into a room, do you short out your watches? Are you somebody that can't wear watches because every time you put a watch on, you short it out? Do you cause energy surges? Do circuits break around you? When you walk into a room, do you change the emotions in that room? Do people love to be around you because you make them happy? Do people love to hug you? Do they come up to you for no reason? Do they always tell you that whenever you're around them, they feel better and they want to be around you? Does that happen to you? Are you somebody who's always coming up with inventions and you always have this new thing in your mind that you want to try or do or be, and you're always seeing improvements in things? This can be better, this can be better, this can be better, this can be better. Are you somebody that can meditate and shut people out at the drop of a hat? There are so many different gifts. Don't ignore your gifts. They're not evil. They're there for a reason. They're there for you so that you can do something to bring this world together, to unify it. And we need every single last one of you. And there is a reason that your awakening is occurring now, because we need you now. We need all of you now. We need the energy to shift back into balance. It is very, 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 very much out of balance, and we need it. So we need all of you, because there's a lot of energy that is going towards negativity right now. And we need to pull that energy back on the positive side, and we cannot do it without all of you. We cannot do it unless we unify. So no, you're not crazy. No, your gifts aren't evil. No, you're not going to hell. No, you're not. You are being called to be of service. So please answer that call. Because if you don't, nobody else will. And that's going to leave a hole. And that's a hole that nobody else can fill but you. Please, 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 please understand that. Please understand. Do the research, people. Find out who else in your family had gifts. There are tales. This is not something that happens by itself. You have a great grandmother, you have an uncle, you have an aunt, you have a somebody. Look, do the research. I always tell people, shake your tree. See who falls out. You're not the only nut in the tree. And once you find out what your history is, you'll know what your future looks like. Okay, I'm gonna get up off my soapbox now and take some questions. If you have questions for me, please ask them, and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities for you. Melissa, she says that she's struggling with being raised Catholic and spirituality. It's very, very telling that you say that, Melissa. You know why? Because your spirituality is in direct conflict with the Catholic Church. Let me explain to you why. For the longest time, Melissa, if you look back at history, the Catholic Church served as the oracle to government. Okay? The Catholic Church dictated to government for the longest time how government was supposed to be run. Okay? This was, if you remember, part of the reason that we now have the Protestant Church. Because the Protestant Church espoused the separation of church and state. Okay? The Catholic Church does not want to lose its power of social governing. So when someone such as yourself with gifts presents herself as a part of the body of the Catholic Church, the first thing that the Catholic Church wants to do is to deny that part of you that they cannot control. The Catholic Church isn't a simulator, okay? They assimilate other religions into themselves. They did it with the religions of Africa. They did it with the religions of the Spanish people and of the Native Americans and of the Mexican people. But spirituality within itself is something that refuses to be assimilated. You cannot assimilate spirituality because spirituality within itself is very, very personal. All of us who have gifts, though we may have similar gifts, our gifts are like a lock that's keyed to each one of us. So all of those gifts express differently. When you have gifts that express differently the way that ours do, there is no way that you can group them together to assimilate them. Do you understand? Therefore, if something cannot be assimilated by the church and used for its benefit, that thing is deemed to be wrong. Okay? That thing is deemed to be wrong. because our gifts again are individualistic, though I may be a medium, you may be a medium, someone else may be a psychic, I may be a reader, you may be an inventor, this person may be this. If you went through the world and tried to assimilate all of those things, it's impossible to do. Therefore, since I cannot control what you do, it's wrong. Okay? I'll just declare it wrong, and then that way people won't do it. Because if I keep telling you that something is wrong long enough, guess what? You're going to start to believe me. And then, if I get enough people to believe that it's wrong, guess what? That is going to become an institution. Okay? Because that's the way that belief systems work. That's why they're belief systems. Because they function within a certain modality. Okay? That's why we call them belief systems. Not beliefs, but belief systems. Spirituality is beliefs made flesh. That's what spirituality is. Religion is a social construct or a belief system. It is a fixed set of beliefs that have been repeated and repeated and repeated to the point that they have now become a modality. That is what they are. That is why we call them a belief system. Okay? That is the difference between what you do and what you experience and what religion is. Because when you do something that is outside the norm, they want you to be able to click a switch that's going to say, automatically this is wrong, without you even thinking about it. Okay? Without you even thinking about it, it's going to become automatic. You don't think about whether or not it's really, really wrong. You don't question it. Because you have been taught and programmed and taught. So automatically, when that thing presents itself that you have been told is wrong, guess what? You automatically resort to your programming and say, oh, this is wrong, I can't do it. Even though everything inside of you is screaming that this is a part of you, this is who you are. Okay? Okay, let me put it to you like this. Ever since you were a child, you have known that to kill somebody was wrong. You've known that it was wrong to take a life. Did somebody have to tell you that it was wrong to kill people? No, that's something that's inside of you that you know automatically is wrong. Okay? Nobody has to tell anybody that it is wrong to take a life. That's not something that people have to be taught, that it's wrong to take a life. Because you don't come here as a child all programmed and ready to kill people. Okay? Because it is inside of you. It is inborn that to take a life is the wrong thing to do. Nobody had to tell you when you didn't come here at 2 and 3 years old all loaded and ready to kill people. Okay? That's not a modality that we came here with. We didn't have to be told that it was wrong. We didn't even come here with the preconceived and pre-wired conception of what hate was. That's not something that we're pre-wired for. That's something that we have to learn. Okay? That's something that we're taught. Okay? And for a great many of us, it's something that we have to unlearn as a result. But according to religion, they teach you that it's wrong to kill. They teach you that it's wrong to hate. No. They teach you that it's wrong to kill and it's wrong to hate until they tell you that it's right. That's programming. How many people have lost their lives in the name of religion? How many people have lost their lives in the name of religion? Answer me that. Okay? Because they know what switches to flip in order to get you to do what they want you to do. That's why religion is a belief system. It's not spirituality. Spirituality cannot be controlled. There are no switches to flip. You can't flip spirit on and off like a light bulb. Okay? Exactly. Melissa says she's to the point right now where she's tired of being depressed and having bad anxiety because I can feel energy when I walk into a room or around someone who's bad or lying. That's correct. That's correct. That's part of it, sweetie. That's part of it. Okay? And that's the thing that people don't want you to see. Because when you're spiritual, you see the world backwards. And you can see when somebody's bad or lying or not telling you the truth. And people don't want to walk around like that. It's like walking around in a society full of naked people. You don't want to be able to see people's, you don't want to see all that. But that's what spirit allows you to see. You see what I'm saying? Because it's up to you. That's called discernment. Okay, that's what they speak of when they when they say, you need to have a discerning spirit. But sometimes you're like, can I discern later? I don't want to discern right now. I completely understand that, Melissa. You know? Yes. That's part of it, sweetie. And that's why I'm up at 2:59 in the morning having this discussion. You can't. Okay? So don't try. Because we're not allowed. Because we're here to be of service. It's very exhausting. I can't remember the last time I got a full night's sleep. Cause I'm not allowed to do that. Okay? It's very exhausting. And at times when we're going through dimensional shifts like we are right now, and it speeds up, and it happens more and more and more back to back to back to back, and you're constantly just in a state of you're getting more and more information and more downloads and more this, it gets very tiring. The one thing that you can do, Melissa, is to pray. That's the most important thing. You have to pray and you have to meditate. You have to pray constantly. That is the one thing that I have come to realize about my spirituality. Since I have been practicing my spirituality in the way that I should, I have prayed more in my life than I ever have. And I have meditated more in my life than I ever have. Because you have to be covered. You have to have that connection with Spirit. You have to, check in and say, okay, Spirit, in order to do what you need me to do, I need help. I need fortification. Okay? And that's what that's about. Communication with Spirit isn't just one way. Okay? You have to say thank you. Okay? You have to honor your ancestors. Your ancestors, they gave you these gifts. You have to honor them as well, because they came before you. They paved the road that you're on now. Pay attention to who your archangels are. Because the world is hurting, Melissa. And you are becoming sensitive to that. Because you are part of you are part of the collective that is meant to heal the world. So that's why you're sensitive to it. Well, I have been on here for an hour, and I am going to go and see if I can try and get some rest now. Thank you guys. Please like and share this video as much as you can, because I don't know who this is for. And please know that, again, you're not crazy. Spirit has a job for you to do. And it's up to you to shake your tree and talk to Spirit and find out what that job is. And if you need any help with that, give me a shout and let me know. And I will be doing this a lot more so that you guys can get, whatever downloads I have. Thank you so much for being here and listening and being who you are. And just remember that you are loved and you are special and you are put here to make a difference in this world. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Spirit, I don't know.